That's fine.
We have a public hearing on Massaro Farm. Application for a special permit for use of a farm stand or to have a farm stand.
I'm here to speak on behalf of Massaro Farm.
Unfortunately, I have to sign in.
I'm happy to do that.
Once we get yelled at.
Great. My name
Somebody
is
yells at us, says here.
Stephen Munno. I am the farm manager at Massaro Community Farm and also the resident there at 41 Ford Road. Here in Woodbridge. We are applying for a permit to have a farm stand at the farm, from which we would intend to sell the vegetables that we grow at our farm. Currently, and as of our 9-year existence in this iteration of Massaro Farm, we have been distributing produce from our barn there through our CSA program. So people have signed up and subscribed to 20 weeks of vegetables they pick up June through October in our barn. There are lots of people who would like to get produce from us who do not want to be part of a vegetable subscription program, and having a farm stand will allow people that access to our produce. So that includes neighbors who walk in and walk by, and now as we've developed over the years a number of educational programs, there are more regular visitors to the farm who would like to purchase produce. So we would like to have a permit to be able to do that. There would be no new construction. We would be operating this stand out of the barn that exists where we already distribute produce to our subscribers.
Do you expect much more additional vehicular traffic
I do not.
in connection with that? And no issues with respect to the available parking on site?
We have parking available right in the front of our barn, and we've also sort of separately looked to extend parking on the farm that's already gone through TPZ. So that is moving forward in the next year, but we are not planning that a farm stand will vastly increase the number of visitors to the farm. I think it will be a highlight for those who are local, and those who are coming to the farm already will now have opportunity to purchase produce.
When would this farm stand be up and operational?
Well, there's no construction to be had, so if it were approved today, so theoretically we could go ahead with it right away and start offering hours, but I think we would have a larger rollout and would like to announce it in some way and have some kind of just acknowledgement of an opening of a farm stand to the public in some grander fashion in the future. But we could start in a small way this season.
How many days a week is it?
We have visitors to the farm every day, so I think we could have sort of casual hours 7 days a week. 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. during weekdays, because we have programs that'll go into the evening. On the weekends, probably 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. But I don't think we would advertise that as our open hours. I think it would be more limited. But because there are programs and events that happen, it's not 7 days a week, but it could happen any day of the week. I'd like to have the ability to sell produce any day of the week.
Questions?
Great.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Oh, are you going to, excuse me, there is one thing, are you going to have signage?
We do. So we have a sign in place already that just has the farm name, and the sign is such that we could hang, additional information below it to say, the farm stand open, farm stand closed, hours. I don't think we would have additional signage to put on.
This is right down the street from the wine place.
We are right down the street from the vineyard, Savino
Farm
Vineyard.
stand.
Yeah, no,
Sells wine.
We could do a field trip.
Love to have it. Suggest doing it and going to the vineyard at the same
Right.
time. And that is also another idea too. There are many people who pass by, stop in on us thinking that they're going to the vineyard. They have an opportunity to get some vegetables before or after going to the vineyard.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody here that would like to speak in favor of the application? Anybody here that would like to speak that's opposed to the application? Very good. Thank you. Well, next thing on the agenda is squad report. How about that?
So at
Are you in charge down there yet?
I am not in any way, shape, or form in charge, but my attendance has been exemplary.
Well, that means
Can't remember the last time I missed a meeting.
you will have a job soon.
So there were only two items on the agenda at the most recent meeting, which was just last Thursday. And one of which related to the town of Durham, proposed zoning regulation amendments to create a new section on agricultural events. And the second, the town of North Haven proposed zoning to the private application to amend the zoning regulations there to allow axe throwing facilities.
Axe throwing.
AXE?
These are bars where instead of darts, they throw axes.
Oh, so there's alcohol.
Yes,
And alcohol served too.
yes, and the town of North Haven seems fine with this.
Okay.
We can't even pass a zoning regulation. They're getting axe throwing.
That's
People showed up for that meeting?
No members of the public showed up at the Scroggie meeting.
Yeah.
Here, I'm gonna
Okay, is that it? All right. Thanks. Okay, so quickly on the zoning regulations. So we're not going to have our special meeting as we scheduled it. The zoning regs, although they're in much better shape, the draft, than it was before, Marion and I have requested summaries for each section to make life easier for commission members and the public. We feel pretty strongly about that. So we have Leslie working on that. You probably already know that Leslie's surpassed what her original scope of work was, i.e. her funding. But she's still hanging in there with us, although I think she's probably going to come and ask for something eventually. But it's gotten a lot better and it's a lot clearer. I've learned, as we all have, from experience in this town, that any little typo seems to become a smoke bomb, including right there in town hall. And so instead of everybody being a team player and showing what's best for the town, instead it's like, look what these guys are doing to our regulations. We don't have meetings in August, and so we're not going to hold a special hearing in August. I'm planning on like as early in September as possible, like maybe the week after we meet. Maybe Christine could send out a question about that.
I think that normally would be zoning board of appeals, and I believe they deferred to the week after because there was a conflict with a holiday, but I will check. Either.
But we do want it in that room, and we don't want it downstairs where there's no microphone service.
You want to have it upstairs.
Because we're going to be talking, and unless there's a mic, so that the commission can easily speak spontaneously, as opposed to having to pass a mic around, we don't want to do it. So, if we're doing it down there, we need a good speaking system, because we're going to have to answer questions. If we can't do that, then we'll stay over there, and if it's crowded, it's crowded. There's only so much abuse that we can take. I'm hoping that this will be ready for us to be looking at the commission as a whole. I'm hoping by the end of the month, and so as soon as it's available, I'm going to send it out to just the commission members. It's not a public document that we're going to post yet, and hopefully everybody can look at it easily. I mean, it's a lot to look at, but anything would help just to take quick overviews, and then hopefully we can get it up on the website by like the beginning of August, and then the public would have a month to look at this document.
So there have been so many changes, at times more than others, and then some subtle. Is there any, I mean, I know the summary will certainly help, but I think what's going to be important for us both in reviewing it and when we're answering questions, is having a good understanding of what's the old and what's the new.
Yes.
Is there going to be a way that that can be
We're working on it.
indicated or?
Yes, we're working on it.
Okay.
That's the ideal.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, what we really need is like a red line document that says, this is what we're taking out, this is what we're putting in. But because this reg goes into this program, you can't pull it in and out. I don't actually find it the best program because of that, to be honest with you, at least for this. So, again, I'm going to get the summary, almost like the summary came today, I've been so busy, I haven't really looked at it. If it's not clear, then we're going to have to figure out another way. But we're spending a lot of time with this. And it's a little painful and drip, but it's going to get on. The idea is to minimize the
Which is why we need to have a good understanding of what's the new and what's the old, because people throw out things as if it's new, and we need to be able to say with confidence, well, actually, it's not new.
Right. I agree. So that's,
And because I'll admit to not knowing having memorized the new town plan of conservation, as well as you, where there are references to that, or where references is the wrong word, where a change is in part due to what has come out of that plan, it would be useful to know that as well. I'm willing to do my homework,
You know, I understand.
but and so I understand there's.
so along with that, to help the situation, I'm going to write up again for the commission's review to see whether it's I'm in the right spot. I'm going to respond not to each one of the comments that were made yet, because to be honest with you, the comments could almost be broken down into three things. Everybody says things, which is fine. And I think we can respond to that. We have, although we've put it in as a bookmark, the way it stands now, we have, so T4 is in there as a bookmark. That seemed to have the biggest bone contention, unfortunately. So we're just putting it as a bookmark, but we're not necessarily recommending in this go-around that we do it. So, which I think is, to be honest, unfortunate, because every other town is trying their hardest to get new shoes, except for Richmond. So, for whatever reason. So hopefully we can answer some of that, but feel free to, nothing I write is etched in stone, trust me. It's all for comment. Okay. So it's again, it's been a painful process, but if we can't get this out in another month, I really think we should move to another time. It's enough already. But I think it's a good thing for the town. Still don't question that. And feel free to send any comments you have to me or to Leslie. That'll be fine. And you could probably set, if you want to ask Marianne questions, you probably should send it to me first, and I'll maybe send one email if we have questions to her, so she's not like stopping and just to answer, because she costs more money than everybody. All right, so that's where we are. Hopefully we can have us to look at in the next couple of weeks. I can only come in here so many more times and just keep saying. Hey. So, all right. So the next discussion is really about the dog park. And so Chris has passed this out, and I think there's a few people here from the dog park.
From the dog park. It's a thing. It's a thing.
It's a good, well, I must have said it, but yes, everybody.
I'm Michelle Ditzian of
That's fair.
10 Timber Lane. Did you want to hear about the
yeah,
dog?
You just need to sign in.
Okay. Did you want to hear about the dog park from us, or do you have enough from
I guess, because I do follow you guys on Facebook,
I'm not.
so, well, it's a requirement reading in my house, I have 2 dogs. Anyway, so I'm kind of curious, so when I read about, I could be the only one on the commission, so I don't want to speak for everybody, but I was under the impression when we talked about the dog park being up at Fitzgerald, that we were just talking about within the fence of where the chestnut trees are. But then I see online, we're talking about all of the whole Fitzgerald.
Well, not the whole of it.
Right, so,
Right.
but then I
Yes,
kind
the
of
whole
saw this
Fitzgerald.
quickly, it's like
To
just
consider-
an area on the Fitzgerald property.
Exactly.
Not necessarily, so I didn't get that, I didn't really understand it until tonight,
Okay,
so.
that's good to know. That was our original petition, was that we wanted an acre and a half on a place that was Fitzgerald or comparable. And then our 600 and so many people made it very clear that they wanted it to be Fitzgerald rather than something else. So that's why we had the second petition. The second petition said either the Orchard area or elsewhere on the Fitzgerald property. In the meantime, we've been given a variety of tracts to look at by Town Hall, and we've evaluated them, and Town Hall has basically taken all of those off the table for all kinds of different reasons. The former country club of Woodbridge, just because it's still under discussion, and the timing is of establishing a dog park is a little bit more
It would be
immediate.
interesting to have 144 acres just for a dog park.
Okay. I won't say no. We also looked at a very small property behind the Public Works building. It turned out to be just too small, and the parking was going to be a big issue. At some point, some members of the board were looking at Elderslie, and there were other problems that we weren't even aware of with that. Any other?
The soccer field, teacher.
Yeah.
Well, that's where we're at now, that we didn't reject those other properties, the board did.
I know your name's behind you.
Oleggy.
You're gonna have to sign it.
Oh, she will sign in.
I'm sorry.
My brain's.
Oh, yes, a levy property, yes.
At
That's
that
where you are
point-
tonight, right?
Well, we're talking about everything.
Oh, I thought that the thing from the board was for you to evaluate the sections of the Leggy they wanted you to.
Yeah, so before you came in, I was saying that I was under the impression that when we said yes to the Fitzgerald property, we were just saying yes to the Chestnut Grove.
So is that a problem to say yes to anywhere on Fitzgerald?
Not yet. I mean, we're going to talk about it. But,
Okay, because what came
But then I
back.
saw it online, that this clarification that we're talking about all of Fitzgerald, or a part of Fitzgerald. So I don't know what everyone else thought.
But
they were
if you
voting
look at
on.
this, what the board of selectmen sent, and I don't want to, like, you should decide what you really want to do, of course, I'm not trying to go against that, but it did say, the Fitzgerald property did not say the Chestnut Orchard. What the board of selectmen referred to the TPC back in
Yeah.
October, November, it did say Fitzgerald. And our petition was always for anywhere on the property, so.
So I'm just kind
You
of
wanna
curious.
clarify
It isn't
that.
a problem at all. But is anybody on the commission thought we were voting for anything other than the Chestnut Grove?
At the time,
Yes.
that was my understanding.
Yeah. So it's not a problem,
Okay.
but we don't, and I think it's more because when you guys gave your pitch, that was where the hope was, and
That's because that's
some
what
of
the.
us thought it was the logical place.
Well, the board, I mean, the first selectman's office is the one that proposed that based
I know.
on Phil. So.
So
we-
that's why we're asking questions.
And the discussion at the time was about utilizing the existing fence and
Right.
changing the gate
Right.
to make it
Yes.
more appropriate for a dog
Dogs
park.
instead of
That was the entirety of the discussion.
Got it.
Because
Okay.
that's the direction we had.
Yeah, that's fine. So now we're we want to clarify any place on Fitzgerald, any place on Fitzgerald property, not just that one place. So I think we need to have a discussion, agree with that. Let's talk about Pease Road. And what are the priority, do you have a B and C?
So you were given I think, the A, B, and C section map that someone came out with, which Chris will tell you is.
The A through G map?
No, there's
No,
no.
that's Fitzgerald.
Yeah.
Wait,
This
are you talking
is-
about
Like
Leggy?
Pete's place.
Okay. So we're starting there?
No, actually, I'm the question, so the only two pieces of property we're talking about is any place on Fitzgerald or any place on the Alleghi property?
So
Or the specific.
anywhere on Fitzgerald and Alleghi,
Right.
they come up with the A, B, and
That's
C.
weird.
And then the other day, Joe Day, one of the selectmen had suggested D. Can I see that one?
Yes.
Which is between the parking lot. If this is Pease Road here and Center Road here, it's between the parking lot and the street,
Oh,
but
yeah, I
it's
see
not
that.
on your maps.
Yeah, actually, there's a little circle. So,
D would be very close to the existing playground,
So
which may or may not be a.
Interestingly
idea.
enough, they actually had another one over here. And I said, yeah, it's right next to Peace Place. There's no way you should do that to a child's
This is
playground.
also where the ball field may one day go, so giving up,
Oh, where?
this was contemplated by,
Oh, no, that's
Right.
The ball
That's,
field.
this is the ball field right here.
so this is,
This is center.
this is center here,
Correct. And so this area, whole area,
this is in the back,
so Peace Place is right here,
okay,
right? So this is the parking lot, looks like a,
where's Pease?
front left, like 6, 7 o'clock.
Pease Road is on the right side.
So this is the existing, okay, I get, this is the parking lot, this
So
is
that's the
Pease right here.
The
Yeah,
parking
so-
lot looks like a single edge.
this
razor
area,
blade.
this area here, that's the 90-foot baseball diamond. That whole thing, even though this is
Okay, now I know where we
3.04
are.
acres is 160 Pease Road, and this is part of 52 Center, blah, 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 blah. But the baseball league says they need both of those
Right.
sections.
So this is front right.
So-
So you need to have the carnival.
So what happens to the carnival?
When was the
Carnival's
last
no
time we
longer
had the
held there.
carnival?
Oh, where do they usually, they put it at the fire station?
I don't know where the carnival's held, but it's no longer held.
We haven't had it in a long time.
Over there.
Yeah.
Are you with the
Anywhere.
baseball league?
Oh, you're right, at all.
I am the neighbor.
Oh, he's the neighbor that's farming it,
That is
right? So he's farming, so yeah, so he has something to say
He
too.
has an opinion.
No, he does, he absolutely
No,
does.
it's a good thing, I'm not.
No, no, he's farming that whole, the 4 acres there?
So.
You can tell us better.
You want me to
Sign
sign
in.
in?
Yeah.
Rules and order. Before.
Just so you know, sir, we did not suggest taking away your farming or the baseball league.
No.
We wouldn't have done that.
In fact,
But we're not too thrilled about being put in a swamp either. A being, the A being behind the storage containers
Oh, okay.
is about, Chris, I'm not gonna put her on the spot, but she showed me the maps there, and it looked like more than half of that was designated wetlands. And the rest, Terry Gilbertson said, was like a mud pit during any time when it's raining.
in other words, maybe not wetlands, but wet.
So there's wetlands designated and there's very wet soil
Right.
on A.
So unfortunately, both B and C, for anybody who's spent any time on the property, also get very wet.
Yeah.
And as such, do not necessarily seem to be a very sensible place for either dog field or ball field. But
And what's A?
so A, as it stands now, is an open space that is closely surrounded by a number of trees. It is actually probably slightly higher than both B and C in terms of its
Elevation?
overall elevation. There is a gentle slope that slopes downwards towards that area where there is some collection of water. In talking with folks from the Woodbridge Land Trust, they feel that from their perspective, that depending on what the priorities are, that it would still be feasible. It's not currently farmed. We maintain it as a cleared space because that was part of our agreement with the town as far as how we would manage the land.
A,
So the fields that we lease from the town encompass A, B, and C. And as of now,
A, there's nothing on A,
so there is if you notice, there's like an open area.
just a
and-
strip, yeah, that's only.
So our agreement with the town is to make sure that anything that is open remains open. As part of like the agreement that we had in terms of what the lease says. So we mow it in the spring when it gets too tall. Otherwise, there would be
Gotcha.
weeds that are 10 feet tall back there. And so we try to.
But are you farming it?
So at A, there is nothing. It is not currently farmable based on tree cover. So both B and C, we have hay in the fields. We've made an agreement with the town for B that during Thursday evenings, when there are soccer activities, that people can park their cars on that as part of the lease agreement that we made with the town. It's not an appropriate place to park cars, but we made that agreement. They tore up the land last year. They significantly compacted the soil. It's not something that is necessarily a good use of that land, but it's within our lease. The location, as of right now, we've been working with the Department of Agriculture, and we've been talking with people within the town to sort of secure and improve the land for its future agricultural use, which was, as it was described for us from many people in the town, that's why it remains open. When we purchased the house, which we did last year, this is our year anniversary, we were told that the ball field was something that there was a period of time up until which money could be raised, after which there was some sort of expiration. I'm not familiar with it. I'm not as in tune with town politics. Unfortunately, I work between 70 and 80-hour weeks, so I have to play catch-up sometimes. But we have been working with the Department of Ag. We have improved the land under our lease. The way our lease is structured is that it's not actually a year-long lease. It's only for the period of time when we can farm it. So technically, our lease runs from March until December every year. And so we hay it currently with plans on hopefully incorporating increased plantings with the possibility of having something along the lines of a pumpkin patch back there, given its proximity to the town park.
Is the lease renewed automatically every year?
No, we have to apply and appeal for it.
So 1 year term?
So it's a 1 year term, and it's not a full year based on the way it's actually written into the lease. And we have been incredibly thankful and grateful for the town in terms of their priorities in allowing us to farm it. We feel like we are upholding our end of the agreement in terms of keeping it as an agricultural space that provides an open space and really sort of is true to Woodbridge's roots. And we really do want to develop it into something that will be an asset for the town, especially given its proximity to the athletic fields. With that in mind, I am openly stating, and I feel strongly about this, that I think it's not necessarily the best place for a dog park, especially given what we hear about other folks in terms of where they would prefer it to be. I am not a fan of NIMBYism. I think that we all play a role in the community in terms of finding an appropriate place.
That's not in my backyard for those of you.
And this is my backyard. The likelihood of a dog park going in here is not going to improve. I have a hard time believing that it's going to improve the pattern of our property. I am not here to argue against it for those purposes, more so than my wife is an incredibly hard worker. She has brought new blood and new effort, and she has started a farm that has members who come to Woodbridge to buy vegetables and to see our farm. And I just want to make sure that she has the opportunity to fulfill what she wants to do as far as turning it back into something that is really agriculturally productive.
So what you just told us, the publicly owned properties and trusts, they also know that. So these people that want open space everywhere because there's farmland, it's okay, but don't, yeah.
And like I said, I think that there has to be multiple uses for land. I'm not an opponent to this. I just think that the best example I can give is there's a lot of hay grown in Woodbridge. There's a lot of grass that's grown to feed horses, and it qualifies under open space. There are not a lot of farmers and people who are willing to convert that land into something more productive than hay. And my wife is. We've proved that. We have the implements. We are working to slowly develop it. We've taken an acre and a half and turned it into productive land this year. This is our first year. It's really hard to start a small farm, as Steve can attest to. And we have developed incredible relationships with the Department of Ag. You can talk to Kip Kolsinkas, who was actually a major sort of proponent in figuring out and developing environmental application review for the original ball field, and talking to him. He is very excited about what we have done, and he is really eager to work with us to try and turn it into something special. With that being said, if a ballpark goes in A, B, or C, my wife and I will still work as hard as we can to bring something new and wonderful to the town of Woodbridge. We just feel like it's not necessarily an appropriate place for a dog park, as it stands.
Can I just tell him something? Because we have some knowledge about the ballpark.
You
We
need to
know
sign
for a
in.
fact that the baseball
Oh,
league
yeah.
has gone to talk to the town, and they do intend to follow through with their plans to build on B and C.
But Randy, you gotta sign in. Any case, yeah, the agreement. Oh, yes. The agreement's online, she posted it on the,
There's pictures.
they posted on the website.
Slides. They're all pictures of that. I just-
The time has expired, but they had 4 years and it's been 7. However, they did not, the Rec Commission's understanding, Bob Hill and Dwight Rowland thought that someone had extended it, and I can't speak to that. I'm not an expert on that. In other words, they told me directly that they had understood that someone had extended it. Now, when the ball be applied to use that, the land trust had rejected it, and Ed Sheehy overrode the land trust objection, so it was approved. I forget the year. I want to say 7 years ago. It's posted online on the Woodbridge.org documents page, in any case. So they're still trying to get it done. I can't speak to the advantages, pros and cons of farmland. I think farmland's great. The narrow strip of grass that he's talking about that's open, the 1.5 acres that was mentioned to us is like a dog leg, not meaning to pun intended. It's not a rectangle like you're showing there. It goes in and then it hangs a left.
Which one is it?
And A. So it goes in behind the storage containers and it hangs a left.
Yeah.
And
This
it's
is the
wooded.
one on P's.
Pardon me?
You're on
Yes.
P's?
Yes.
Yeah, so the rectangle that's marked A goes in, when you come into the driveway, there's a loop, a turnaround, and there's a wood storage building. And that's in front of B and C. There is no dividing line between B. See the little dotted line? That's because one is listed as 160Ps and one is part of 52. But there's no dividing line there. It's all one big thing. And along the left edge of B is those light poles that they used to use through. Then you see a shaded area, which is wooded and has a stone wall, and then you see A. That's not accurate at all because there's a narrow, not narrow, it's, I don't know, he'll know better how many feet wide it is, but then it hangs a left into wooded, and it's not just, it's swamp.
Okay, so let me interrupt for
Go
a
ahead.
second, so we can move forward a little bit. So, I guess that even though you have a lease on this property, the town can change it.
So it's a year-to-year lease, so the town could choose not to renew the lease.
I know.
I mean, we don't feel we've ever given the town reason not to. But, yes, they absolutely would not have to renew it.
How long have you been on that property?
So we moved in last year.
It was a year.
It's exactly a year. We moved in like July.
All the farm leases are like that, they go from March to the end of the year.
And there was an issue, just
Now
to,
Massaro Farm.
Huh? No, but I'm like, some farmers, like, I think there's a field of
That's correct.
Eldersley that they farm.
This is his field.
And most of them are
Has
A.
yeah. And so one of the issues is that there is a program that the Department of Agriculture offers, which it helps fund any land improvement projects. If you have a 5-year lease, the federal government will cover 90% of the cost. The other 10% typically comes from the leaseholder. Without that 5-year lease, you basically have to put in whatever you put into the land, which we find very difficult, especially given that the next year somebody may say, oh, you can't have it. So you're taking a gamble in terms of anything you do to improve the land.
It's a little funky. So where's the preference from the dog park community?
Are you just looking at a leggy or also Fitzgerald?
Overall, I'm looking at everything.
Well, I mean, because we did, a survey and we've got these 640 people assigned, and we go and talk to people every day out, out at Fitzgerald, wherever they're walking dogs, we know that the primary focus is on Fitzgerald because that's where people walk their dogs already. And it's very hard to break old habits. And when we say, you can't change human behavior overnight, and some of the elderly people, and guess what, more than 50% of the population of Woodbridge is over 55, like me, and we have a lot of
It's a little younger than that, by the way.
little younger.
The average age in this town is late 40s.
Is what?
Late 40s.
But
Huh,
there's a
we just
huge-
looked at the demographics online, and it showed that more than 50%.
I'm just going by what the POCD people told us. And we went up. We got a couple of years older.
Well, like I say, I looked
Whatever.
at the demographic studies on
I'm with you, don't worry.
but it doesn't matter. In any case, we have a number of people, 78, 80, 82. We have a bunch of 82-year-olds that walk there every day, rain, sleet, or snow, twice a day, and they're afraid to walk somewhere where there's not people, because if they fall, they want to know that someone's there. And so what they would do is if they drove somewhere and there's a dog park and there's no one in the dog park, they're not going to stay, because there's no one there and there's no one to play with. So they're going to go somewhere else. So we're trying to find an area where there's other humans around without disturbing. Now, people should understand the dog park does not disturb people like a playground or a ball field was. Ball fields, in order to be successful, should be noisy and silvery. Dog parks, I've taken videos of dog parks all over Connecticut, and
Pretty quiet.
you hear panting when they're running, and that's about it. And there's trees and grass and boulders and benches, and it's quiet. So, but also the problem is that you don't typically put a dog park right abutting a ball field or a playground. So we kind of need to know what the overall plans are. Are you asking why? Because
Are you reading my expression? I'm questioning still which of the two properties you felt were buying.
a better
Yeah, which of the two? The
Which one do you
Fitzgerald-
want?
Which one do you want? Like,
Fitzgerald.
We want Fitzgerald.
And why is that such a problem? I know it's a big
Okay.
issue. Why is that such a
Okay.
problem?
Well,
Michelle can give you the skin.
I'll give you the skinny.
Like, I know-
First, I want to answer your question, which is, what's good about and not sufficient about each of them. The Alleghi property has water, and down the road, if we ever have money, that would be a really wonderful thing to have, drinking fountains and that kind of thing. It has a parking lot that is at least partially paved, and whatever we do there would be close enough to the parking lot to meet any kind of ADA standards. And it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. But,
I'm going to interrupt for one second, because I keep reading this
Terry Gilbertson.
banter about ADA. So does the ADA document, the statute, say how far the handicap space has to be to the location? Because the fact of the matter is, this is where the parking lot is, and in that parking lot, you have to have so many ADA spaces. Now, the statute...
No, it's dependent on
Whatever it is, the
spaces.
statute doesn't say you have to be 10 feet. You just have to be as close as possible to that location. If the parking lot is here and the dog park is over here, this is where you need your handicap. It doesn't say you have to have your handicap spaces over there. So I keep listening to these people say, well, it's not good, you can't, handicap spaces.
Bingo.
No, trust me, you'll have the handicap spaces. They're going to be in the parking lot. That's where handicap spaces go.
Well, it's
And
two
so-
issues, is that one is that the people are confused, is that there's an ADA compliant area and pathways, and there's permit holder spaces. The blue signs, you must have a
for the
permit
people
holder.
who have, from the state.
Right.
So
I understand.
those we're actually working with the ADA compliance organization, because the people who have been touting all these stories have admittedly acknowledged that they don't know. And Jerry Weiner said that he doesn't know, so he contacted a lawyer who's supposed to know, and he said, he said, it's complicated because it's not clearly listed for dog parks yet. And so the easiest thing to do is to go to the next strictest up, go up. But we called the compliance officer hours on the phone and said, there's no maximum distance, you don't have to have paved roads. But I said, you know what, the town board's gonna want this in writing. So I just yesterday, or the day before, got something in writing with some links and a name that we can contact. So I haven't read it all yet. But it is, by their own admission, it's complicated. So it's a matter of, like, if you look at what Terry Gilbertson wrote and he put it and posted it, he was going by ADA building and formal
Which
recreation,
is
not by
much
dog
more
parks,
strict
much
than
stricter.
park.
And
Probably even,
and of course, when he
More
said
strict
that,
than
that we couldn't even do A because the pitch was too high on the walkway. So if you're, and even though it's paved, so that's another,
okay, so let me,
Oh, but wait,
so
there's
going
more.
back to Fitzgerald, what Fitzgerald has that's ideal is that it has walkways. There's no paths at Alleghi.
Right.
And
For
what
walking.
dog people do is walk. We walk on leash, and then we would like to walk off leash. And to be able to walk on leash, if, for example, somebody's not in the park, is a boon. We would otherwise have to go, 2 or 3 trips in a car to try to figure out where our dog can get exercise. So the walking and the dog parking are, we think, compatible activities, whereas children playing in a playground and a ball field and the soccer field, which is already there,
So we're gonna
and the
probably agree
proposed
with that.
ball field. Pardon me?
We probably agree with
So,
Would you
so
agree with that? Yeah.
that. Yeah, we do agree.
with regard to Fitzgerald,
I'm guessing chances are this group agrees.
Chances are you
That
agree.
if there are kids playing, dogs might start barking, as opposed to if they're in place, in a dog park, and they walk around, it shouldn't be a problem.
correct. Also, the
So-
new dog parks are purposely citing, which with all this brouhaha about nature and walking trails, and yet Shelton, Naugatuck, I'm trying to think of all the ones, Newtown, they all cited the dog parks next to nature trails for the exact purpose that they blend, and that people can then get their human exercise and their walk the dogs on leash and have some playtime. But you don't want to, and like Beth said, Joe's suggestion about the one next to the parking lot, her concern was that if people are getting their children out of the car to go to Peace Place, and the kids are afraid of dogs, is there too much confusion? We can't go anywhere near Peace Place. If it's across the parking lot, we'll consider it. Like,
If any of you guys been there on the
There
weekends?
was a time, there was
I
a
have.
time that this C area was used all the time. We used to go and let our dogs loose.
Have you gone there on the weekend?
Are you back on Fitzgerald?
Yeah,
Oh, is that the Lower Meadow?
yeah.
Lower Meadow.
There are
Yes.
still people who do that.
Still people do it because it's food and leash law.
It-
But yes, and we would like to have the dog park down there if people would stop fighting about the stupid ADA. And the fact that people, they're sure that there's gonna be this heavy traffic
Okay,
jam going past the gardens.
So,
No, we'll
we're
leave
probably
it.
gonna get ourselves in trouble here, but we'll just try to will, but I'm used to it.
Life is short, go ahead.
Just have them build a couple of handicap spots.
You got it,
Novel idea.
I know.
So if they're so adamant that a handicap spot needs to be next to the park, then put the damn things in. This is for the town too, I don't understand.
It's not like people don't park all over the place there.
Everywhere,
Exactly.
they park wherever they want. Those people in the community gardens, they park wherever they want.
I
And
could
I'm not
jump out of the
complaining
way all
about
the
that.
time for
I will
cars going.
testify to that, I am a community gardener, and I can tell you why we do that.
Yeah, I know why you do it, but it
Because
doesn't
you don't
bother
have
me.
water.
It's a town,
It's a community gathering place.
Right.
Now, we're not trying to keep anyone out, we're trying to welcome everyone in.
so let's see, just to move us along here, because
My concern with
Mr. Schatz
A
is
is,
giving you
besides the
the-
wetlands, is that
I think we've left a Leggy and Pease
Yeah.
place. We're talking about
Yeah.
Fitzgerald.
Okay, but if you want to,
Right?
I agree.
if you
Yeah,
have
I
to give
agree.
the board.
Let's
Agreed.
forget a
So,
Leggy and Pease.
We're back on
So
Fitzgerald.
I think we should,
Okay.
I think what we want to do is take an opinion, or we can make a motion, whatever we want, that we think the dog park should be on the Fitzgerald property where all the other community activities.
I just have a couple questions before we get to that. So with respect to A, G, and B, those would all obviously encroach upon the currently leased farmland.
We have Cheryl now?
Yes.
Correct,
Yes.
All right.
F would not. F is the existing Chestnut.
correct.
All right, so the other, oh,
G is a piece of B.
Okay, so G is, the land trust was given 3 acres in 2004 for the orchard, and they only fenced it 1.5 acres. So
Oh.
F is the mirror image, it's the other 1.5 acres that's not being used.
Oh.
So we
G-
said it.
So G is not currently
You're kidding.
being leased for farmland.
It
No,
is being hayed,
Well-
as, it looks like kind of a self.
Off contract, and this is the thing, is that I said to them, so let us have the other 1.5 acres, and they said,
It's being hayed.
what 1.5 acres? And I said, the 1.5 acre land trust's not using, let us have that.
Who do you have
And
to
they
ask
said-
permission for that?
I asked Sheila McRevan, and she said, it's being hayed, and I said, so you broke the agreement with the land trust? And she says, no, and I said, yeah, but lease says 3 acres, and you took away 1.5 acres and gave it to someone else, that agreement's voidable now. And I said, I don't get it. So I think the B farmer, which I think is Keith Arnold, is farming all of it.
Yeah, right, he is.
So could we just take a little 1.5 acres of all of that land
Well,
and fence it in and,
That is really under the contract with the land trust.
So we need to investigate what the contract is with the land trust.
no,
We
really
already
what we
know.
just need to
It's
do
not up to
No,
is
because the-
make a motion or give an opinion that we think the dog park should be on Fitzgerald property.
let them.
Boom.
So moved.
A second.
All in favor?
Opposed? I'm
not
gonna give everybody a job here. This is good.
Yeah, you can't vote, I'm sorry.
I can't vote?
No,
Okay.
Paul can move. And, okay. And
Didn't we do this over a year ago?
Yes.
well, not over a year ago, you did it in November, and you did.
Over.
Good luck.
It is.
I'm feeling like you're getting almost as much abuse as we get.
Oh, you have no idea.
No, I have a pretty good idea.
I'm starting to feel like I have to walk
You
somewhere.
need a good liaison. You need Joe Crisco on your liaison.
We have Joe, he's a good guy.
He is your audio liaison?
No,
No.
But you wanted the job, right?
Yeah, right.
You don't do it. I'm volunteering Joe for you.
Be our advocate, Joe.
What we learned, I
I
understand
know
we
we
wanted
made
to
this
go
farmer
on
happy.
a winery tour, but we learned that the New England Brewing Company allows dogs. You can walk right in with your dog
That's right.
and sit there and
We have a
have a
nice
pint.
party there.
So,
Yeah.
hope to meet you there.
No, I don't understand. This is a community, this is like a major community thing. It's like embarrassing that this farm town, that these people want all this open space because it was farmland, doesn't allow a dog park. What is that about?
What would be, if it were on Fitzgerald, what would be your committee's preference as between F, G, and C?
Yeah, but we're not gonna make that
Yeah,
part of
I was
our-
gonna say,
We're not
do
gonna
we
do
want
that.
to get involved?
No, we don't wanna do that.
All right.
Because they're not asking
I
us.
wanted to know.
Oh, well, that's different.
Guess what?
I think they're
We don't wanna
saying
get
they wanted,
involved
they
either.
wanted G.
We'll take whatever they give us.
Right,
from
exactly.
Fitzgerald.
But I think they're
Well-
saying that they want G because no one has
Actually,
dibs on G.
my newest location is when you first come into the parking lot, the woods to the left. And I'm going, can't get any closer to the parking lot. But someone said, oh,
And
someone
just
said-
tell them part of the
You don't have to go past
investment
the
of putting
gardens.
up a dog park is,
Yeah.
if they think you need handicap spaces, then tell them to put the handicap spaces in. And then I bet you they'll figure out that the ones in the parking lot work. That's usually what happens.
No, that's a way of preventing us from going there.
I don't think that you are required to have this handicap spot on top of the dog park. But I'm not the lawyer.
Or the ADA compliance officer.
Oh, well.
If it's in F or G, Warren Connor, who was there and helped with Duncan Milne to create all those paths and roads at Fitzgerald, and went the extra mile of making them go below the frost line, so it's not just gravel street.
Yeah, right.
So I'm pretty sure it's going to suffice as stable, slip-resistant surface. That's a criteria. ADA. I'm learning a lot about this. If in fact we wanted to, and it was at F or G, there are space for 4 parking spaces along that walkway if we had to get closer than the parking lot.
We've got a vision. We can draw it out. Whatever, whichever place you put us in, we've got a vision. It's going to be beautiful, and it's going to end up being a real amenity for the town, just like the playground is going to be an amenity.
Unfortunately, we don't have a budget to hire people because.
Wait a minute, is the parking lot next to B
Yes.
or before E? So the end of the parking lot, is that where the hockey rink is?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Right up there, so the hockey rink is like right in front of G?
And the same people who are complaining about the ADA compliance are blocking the ice skating rink from being spruced up because of inland wetlands
Because there's
issues.
parking on either side of the tree. This is where the hockey rink is, this is where the Chestnut Road is. And then you have the
Oh,
other part.
so they want, so they're talking about the piece like right here.
Yep.
That's pretty close to that parking area, isn't it?
I think it is pretty close.
Very
I think there's
close.
some wetlands there, but I'm pretty sure there's pretty good land for walking over this.
Well, the gardener
Well, you
that
could-
is beside that one actual driving path has already said he'd love to have some parking spaces there because it would take down the jungle that's encroaching in on his garden of the sumac and the mugwort.
To be honest with you, the town should put your parking spots in. They should also put water up there for the community garden. And they should put the dog park in. I don't understand, why does every town in the state have one of these things except for us?
Thank you.
Well, they don't want to spend 1 penny, it's all us, so one of the reasons why A was a concern on the levy is huge site costs. And they're saying, oh, you're
Yeah,
gonna
we don't think a ledge is a good idea, so.
fill and take trees.
We're telling them, that we're already telling them something. It doesn't really go along with our POC either.
So that's enough?
So actually, we should probably put that in
We have
our,
the irrigate currently. We have successfully applied for an application for a grant to
Yeah.
produce another
So-
water property that we can.
so, Chris, we probably want to say that in view of what our POCD and the direction in which we think that the best place for the dog park is on the Fitzgerald property, and we think that putting on the Legend property would be a huge mistake and not follow our POCD.
Beecher Road has city water,
Yeah, I know.
so at least bring it into the parking lot and people could fill up there. Because someone, when Amy wrote a recent letter into the town saying that, you should have a dog park there because the water there is not potable. And people, what do you mean? I've been drinking that water forever and giving it to my dogs. Why is there signs over those spigots that it's not potable? And people are eating those vegetables, so they're created by that.
I've found this town being community-oriented when it suits them. And I want to. All right, cool. Is there anything else? No.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, we have to, let's talk about Massaro Farm. Before, so Steve, can we go home and say?
I move to accept the proposal for a farm stand open at the hours that work for them, 7 days a week without us limiting it.
Second.
Seconded.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
I know you wanted to hear the discussion on the
I
dog.
very much did. Especially in light of, I don't, but I'm friends with our farm friends there and I'm interested in there being a dog park in a place that works for the community.
It's really, that's friendly.
And actually, one of the things we want to do at this fair was do it where we take away the least amount of land from farming. The orchard. 5 trees versus 500 dogs.
Personally, just to get myself in a little more trouble, I would stop being so accommodating and just say this is what we want. Don't figure it out.
I like that idea.
All right,
Move to adjourn.
and you have Joe. Second. Is there a second? All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Nothing else
I did.
worked. Everybody did.
Somebody down there.
These people know how to run a quick meeting.